Hey, what's up, everyone? I wanted to do a video because I want to tell you about a really cool movie. I'm sure you've already heard about it, but I wanted to give you my take because I really was impressed by this movie. And not that my opinion matters anything really, but it's a case of when you see a movie and you want to tell other people about it because you think they might enjoy it. And so that's the case today. Love and Monsters. Let's talk about that movie. I'm sure a lot of you have already heard about it. It's been out for probably about maybe like half a month or so. And it's a really good movie. If you follow people like Sean Chandler, Rachel's Reviews, I know you've already heard a little bit about it, or maybe a lot about it. I know Sean Chandler recently was doing a best of October. He was ranking his favorite movies in October, and he mentioned how he and his wife really loved this. I completely agree with what he was saying. This movie took me by surprise. I'm not a big young adult movie or story type fan. I mean, I like Hunger Games and all that, but typically it's not a genre that I seek out. But I saw this movie, and of course, this being 2020, it's not like there are a whole lot of new movies coming out these days. Watched it, and it's pretty good. Like, I'm not touting it for Best Picture or anything. I'm not saying, oh, this is going to be one of your favorites of all time. So, don't go in with like massive expectations that this is going to be your new favorite movie. But what I am saying is that this movie has a lot going for it. It is very good for, I say for what it is, and I don't mean it in a negative way. I'm just saying for a young adult type movie, it stands taller than a lot of them. Love and Monsters, I won't go into spoilers, but to set it up so you know what, you have an idea what it's about going into it. And what I'm about to say, all of this is within like the first 10 minutes. But the setup is that an asteroid at one point was hurtling toward Earth. And Earth, we reacted, not just our country, but every country reacted by nuking the heck out of the thing. And while that destroyed the asteroid, it ended up sending this radioactive, material, what have you. And so a lot of creatures suddenly became bigger. They mutated into these massive monsters, these beasts that just wiped out humanity, or most of it. And what was left, what wasn't, the humanity, the humans that weren't stomped on or eaten, or they went underground more or less. And it's just been about survival. Not so much living, but surviving. And during all the chaos of that, when all that took place, there was a guy, Joel, played by Dylan O'Brien. I'm going to talk here in a minute about his performance because I have some good stuff to say. But this character, Joel, he's dating this girl named Amy. When the chaos ensues, they go their separate ways. They've been apart for 7 years, and so they've communicated with each other through radio, but Joel is tired of being a coward. He is tired of being separated from her. He decides one day he is going to go out into the world and find her, even though it's probably about a week's journey or so. I think it was about a week. So he, and again, I'm about to, no spoilers, don't worry. But he decides he's going to leave the compound. Everyone's telling him, Joel, don't do it. She's moved on. Yeah, I know she's talking to you on the radio, but she's moved on. You're about to risk your life for someone who's moved on. And he decides to take that chance anyway. That's all. I won't spoil anything, so don't worry. You hear people nowadays talking about how there aren't any movie stars. We're not seeing a lot of actors with charisma like Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt and Will Smith, those guys, back in the 90s. I think Dylan O'Brien has what it takes. He has given 2 great performances this year. One, it may be more, but I just off the top of my head. One of them is in this movie. And then also, I don't know if you saw, but earlier this year, he did a recreation of a scene from The Social Network, acted his heart out, could have gotten an Oscar nomination for how well he did in that little viral, clip or meme, what have you. I guess it wasn't a meme, but a recreation. But here, he does a good job. Another really good performance is from Michael Rooker, who has a daughter figure in the film, and he and his daughter, they're going on this journey as well. They don't want to be underground like most other people. They choose to live their life out there, braving the whatever to live, to enjoy life, so to speak. And of course, they come in contact with Joel. There's some great scenes. Michael Rooker's character is able to kind of pass on some wisdom to Joel. No spoilers, don't worry. I mean, I'm not telling you anything you wouldn't see in the trailer. And I don't even know if I saw the trailer. I kind of watched the movie just because everyone was raving about it. Cons, I don't have a lot of bad stuff to say. Keep in mind the movie is, it's on a budget, and that's not a bad thing. I am not complaining at all. In fact, I think there are a couple of studios that probably would do well to pay attention to this movie. This movie, it does have monsters, and it has love, because both of those are in the title. But as far as the monsters go, some studios would go all out. They'd say, "Oh, if we're doing monsters, we got to show like 100 monsters. And we have to show all sorts and swarms of monsters." Well, that's not what this movie does. It keeps the budget down by describing stuff off screen, and also Joel is an artist, so like he'll sketch monsters that we don't see on screen, but give us an idea of what's out there, which cool in its own right. It kind of, it goes back to like Jaws, where you didn't see the shark, but you knew it was out there, and you kind of knew what to expect and the damage it could do, so you still feared it. And that's kind of what they do here. Like, there's one scene I remember Michael Rooker's character is looking out with his binoculars, and he's like, "Oh, I see, I forget the name of the monster, but oh, it's a big one. Oh, yeah, oh." He's like, and his acting's a whole lot better than that. But he's describing it, and even though we don't see it yet, we're like, "Oh man, I hope they don't come in contact with that thing." And so yeah, I mean, they play it smart. They're really smart with their budget, keep that budget down, and that's probably moving forward something that studios should have already been doing, but maybe they'll take notice. And I think it would be a good thing, because this is an original movie. This is not based on a book. The only con I can think of, and it's not really a con, obviously this is not an art house movie. And the reason I say that, it's not like the guy's going, Joel, it's not like he's going to reach his destination and, whatever happened, and then, the movie's going to end like with him just staring off into the sunset, reminiscing on his journey, waxing poetic. I mean, this is not that type of movie. It's mainstream, so they're going to have something big happen in the climax, right? So, no spoilers, but what happens, I don't know. It's kind of they set it up, but it still is kind of out of left field, sort of. Not entirely now. I mean, they do set it up somewhat, but and again, it's nothing I can complain about. It's not anything like, "Oh man, that was a good movie until that happened." No, this is not that type of situation. But I guess the whole movie has been very limited. Joel and a dog, and maybe one or two other people, just out in the wilderness, braving one monster at a time, usually. And then the way the third act happens, it's a little, it's like a shifting gears, so to speak. And some people will like it. Some people might like that shifting gears. But for me, I kind of was, I don't know. I don't even know what the alternative would be, really. Because again, it's not an art house movie. He wasn't, going to show up at his destination and then accept either she's moved on or hasn't, whatever the case would have been. He's not going to face that and then stare off into the sunset while the credits roll. It's not that type of movie. But I do think that said, and without giving it away, again, so Joel thinks Amy is still waiting for him. Some of his friends think she's moved on. What they come up with, I think, will please most people. So Love and Monsters, yeah, I would definitely recommend this movie. especially these days when there's not a whole lot of new stuff out there. If you get a chance to see it, I say go for it. I think most of you will really enjoy it. For me, I'm going to give it a very strong 3 stars. And one thing that I love about the movie is that it feels like there are a couple of times where it goes one step beyond what it could have been. He encounters something at one point in the story. And at first it's kind of played for laughs, and then out of nowhere they go for the heart. And a lot of other movies would have just played it for laughs, but Joel encounters something, and at first it's funny, and then they take it and make it a warm moment. It's a very nice scene. So Love and Monsters, I would give it a strong 3 out of 4 stars. Teetering toward 3.5, I don't know, man. Sometimes when I started this channel, I did not want to do a rating. And then I realized, well, there's some things, if I'm going to branch out at some point, maybe aim for Rotten Tomatoes, I'm going to have to give ratings, I think that's how it works. So I'm like, well, crap. So Love and Monsters, I'm going to say 3 stars. But if someone were to say Josh gave it 3.5, I'm not going to debate you. It's a really good movie. All right, what'd you think of the movie? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a great week. Bye.